Who wins that Chimaev-Burns fight?
Okay, so that's going to be the 9th of April pay-per-view. I love that match. Right now, I'm leaning towards Chimaev, but I'm drunk on the excitement of Chimaev. No fighter's got the wind in his back quite like Chimaev does. There's just something to be said for momentum. I got to watch him work out for the first time last week. All the rumors are true, but Gilbert Burns is a whole nother animal. Gilbert Burns will jump on any grenade as long as it's an opportunity that gets him closer to his goal, which is returning to Kamaru Usman. So these are the right guys to put in there right now. In fairness, I'm leaning towards Chimaev.
If Chimaev does beat Burns, Chimaev versus Colby, who do you like there?
I'm having a tough time with this Chimaev thing. I've heard the horror stories about Chimaev. I've heard what he's done to Gustafsson. Chael's watched him work out. There's a lot of guys that have seen him train. Darren Till sings his praises. I just haven't seen it for myself. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm not saying that he's not good. I've never seen him in there with a top 10 guy. I've never seen him dominate anyone that I respect completely. At all. It's never happened. So I'm not saying he's not capable. I just don't know. So as analysts, I think it's a little bit voodoo for us to say that we don't know. But I think in this situation, it's fair. I don't know how good he is. I've seen him do what he's supposed to do to some of those. If he's half as good as what people say, I've seen him do what he's supposed to do to the guys that he's fought. So I just want to see. I'm really excited to see him in there with Gilbert Burns. I want to see if he can get over on a guy like Gilbert Burns, a guy who, I guess the talk about Chimaev is that he's a fantastic grappler, that he's a fantastic wrestler. We've seen him in there with Jack Hermanson and out wrestle a larger, was supposed to have been a larger guy, ended up not being in the wrestling match. But I think that his grappling and that fear of the grappling and wrestling, very similar to the Colby Covington, Jorge Masvidal situation, does open up his striking. I can promise you this, Gilbert Burns does not give one shit about Chimaev's grappling because he's gonna be right there with him the entire time. So if he can beat a guy like that, I think a Colby Covington fight is right there for him. But I think we can't put the cart before the horse here. I think he's got to get through a guy like Gilbert Burns first.
And there's a fear in the unknown. And the mystery here does lie with Chimaev. We don't actually know. How's he going to do with adversity? Well, probably pretty well, but we've seen how Colby does with it. How's Chimaev going to do in championship rounds 4 and 5? Probably pretty good, but we know how Colby's going to do with it. So I do think, out of full respect, we do have to say that Covington is still the guy to beat. If you just look at styles and matchups, we've seen so little of Chimaev. We know he's got a good double leg, but we know Colby's never been taken down in a double leg. So it does tend to kind of equal themselves out, and I'm not really to give anybody that's only had 2 matches against unranked opponents the nod over the true number 1 contender. But in all fairness, that's probably the match. And Kamaru Usman weighed on that about 2 hours ago. Dana White had made a comment that Chimaev versus Burns would be a number 1 contendership. Then the champ spoke up and he said, not so fast. This guy's got my attention. When I got to deal with him, I'll be ready for him. However, I need to see him beat 2 guys that are ranked within the top 10. That's fair. And if that does hold up and Chimaev gets the bump on Gilbert, which he's favored to do, I think that does make the Covington-Chimaev match all that more likely and possibly Colby's only route back to a Kamaru Usman championship fight.